Greetings from Ohio. I now live marginally closer to a public library that has a well-rounded stock of books. So in honor of that, I'm going to talk about some of the books that I am reading and plan to read within the next week. I'm currently reading Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. This is a sequel to a book that I read previously called The Lies of Loch Lamora. I was told to read The Lies of Loch Lamora by recommendation, and they're interesting. They're for people who enjoy like high fantasy, Patrick Rothfuss, George R.R. Martin, stuff like that. I was intrigued enough with the first one to go and get the second one. So that's what I'm currently reading. I'm like a third of the way through. To prove that we are vain and only care about what's on the outside, before we read these books, we're going to rate the covers and see how that later adds up to the actual rating of the book, because why not? I'm going to give this cover a pretty low rating. It's a ship on fire in front of a castle, I suppose. I don't know. I told my mom to hold it the other day and she thought it was a bodice ripper. So that's what this book looks like. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 2 out of 5. The next book I plan to read is called Get in Trouble by Kelly Link. These are short stories. I've read several of Kelly Link's short stories before, but most of the ones I've read have been young adult short stories. This is supposedly for adults. It was in adult fiction. So we're gonna see if I like that as much as I usually do. She writes like horror, weird, Neil Gaiman-ish kind of stuff. I liked them before, so we'll see if these add up. I really like this cover actually. I'm a fan of the typography thing with minimalized colors and all that, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. This is the Amulet of Samarkand by Jonathan Stroud, the first book in the Bartimaeus trilogy. I've been meaning to read this for years because it is someone's favorite novel, Sam, and she has been bugging me to read it for a long time. So I own the book, figured I'd finally give it a go. We'll see. I don't know how I feel about this cover art. It's kind of creepy. I don't know. We'll give it a 3 out of 5. This monster of a book is called The Blinding Knife by Brent Weeks. This is also a sequel. The first book is called The Black Prism. They're interesting. It's a kind of, I don't know, weird Harry Potter for adults, much darker thing. It's an interesting concept. Some of the people in the book, mainly the main characters, can control colors and make things out of colors, but only certain colors. But there's one guy who's stronger than all the rest and he can use all the colors. Well, it was interesting. So I got the second one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this in a week plus all the others, but I'm going to give it a try because I'm ambitious. Last but not least, I am going to do The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I believe I'm going to listen to it because I do not have the book, but I do own the audiobook, and if I remember correctly, it's really good. I've actually listened to The Graveyard Book before, but I love Neil Gaiman, and my family and I were talking about the story the other day, and I couldn't remember any of it, so I'm just going to re-listen to it. It makes it a little difficult to rate the cover.